Okay, let's get this moving here. Already a few of you on, which is nice to see. You have to forgive me, I've just finished work. I'm a little bit sweaty. But this is going to be a good one this evening, folks. We have lots to talk about. Junior hockey, GB20s, GB16s, GB ladies, and finally showcase and conference. So I'm just going to let this boost up a little bit here. If you want to share it around, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram, do all the good stuff. Sadly, no Mark tonight. He is spending the night with a friend. So unfortunately, you're stuck just with me. If you want to put anything in the chat, feel free. Get some questions in, get some comments in. Apparently, I just pressed the wrong button. But yeah, let's get those messages flowing, and we'll just have some fun this evening. So we have Tim Smith making a comment on our previous post. We posted a couple of weeks back, or maybe even a few days, and I'm not entirely sure when it was. But we posted about the GB20s, their last results, and their results from, well, the last decade, really, and proving very difficult to get out of Division 1A. I wish it was Division 1A. Division 2A, brief spells in Division 1B, a quick relegation back down. But outside of that, we haven't been getting out of that division. So I'm going to read what Timmy Smith said today. And it's a post that's been seen by a lot of people. It's been shared all over. And his comment was bang on. Too many non-hockey people involved with decision-making, even down to the England junior teams. They're wanting £100 a trial and having 60-plus kids attend 6 to 8 trials. Instead of having the conference weekend where the best players were selected for the national team and had to play well to impress the coach, you now get sent by little Tommy's dad, who started coaching ice hockey because his kid got into ice hockey. Timmy is bang on. Timmy is absolutely bang on. And it's obviously, we've had a whole bunch of comments. Is this still working here? Yeah, there you go. We've had a whole bunch of comments all over our social media today. We'll get into some of those in a little while, but I just want to talk about what Timmy said. And if you look at what Tim said, £100 for a trial. Now, I reached out to England Ice Hockey today because a lot of you guys have messaged me saying it's £100 a trial, but I just wanted to confirm. And they have confirmed it. I'm not going to say who confirmed it, but it's been confirmed by a source within the EIHA that is, in fact, the cost. Now, £100 for a trial is fucking mental. So with that being said, I asked them, what does your £100 cover? What does your £100 get you? And this is what it gets you. All meals, coaching, shirts, all of the sessions, of which is a full day, strength and conditioning. It's not a fucking hockey camp. It's a trial. You don't need a jersey. You wear your club jersey. You put a name on it. You put a number on your helmet. It's simple. Food? Yeah, great. Provide them food. That's not 100 quid. I used to provide camps for 65 kids. Now, if we're saying, Timmy Smith saying there's 60 kids out there, I was doing camps for 60 kids. Nicky Watt hockey camps. Maybe that'll be coming back very, very soon. Now I'm not banned. But I was feeding 60 kids for fucking a decent chunk of change. It was not expensive. Nutritious meals as well. Good protein, good vegetables, unless you're some of the boys plain pasta, like there's some weird shit going on. But good protein, good vegetables, good carbohydrates. The boys were well fed and they were ready to go on the ice. They were ready to go off ice. They were ready to do everything. Now, this is an England trial. Like I said, it's not a camp. If it's a camp, I expect a jersey. It'd be great to have a jersey. We don't need that shit. How much Scotland charge? Scotland charge £12. £12 for a trial. That's a bit more reasonable. So if you have 6 to 8 trials, you're clocking in under £100. You have 8 trials and you play for England, you have 800 quid plus hotels, travel, expenses, Gatorades, Powerades, all the other shit that you need to go along with it. We're seeing some parents comment in, they're spending north of £2,000 before the trip even takes place. Now, I don't know how you justify that. That's England level. It's Me personally, I would do away with England at the lower age groups. I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I think it would be better suited. Don't get me wrong, kids are having a great time in Slovakia, the power of 12 last week. All power to them, absolutely. But would that money not be better spent on getting some best v best games within the UK? Now, do we need to go out to Slovakia and get fucking smoked by Bratislava and Nitra and all the other club teams who are absolutely solid? Probably not. But could we have more best on best hockey in the UK? Now, the best on best, this is originally what the Southwest and Southeast and all Scotland, North, Midlands, they used to partake in the conference tournaments, and it was best on best. And you did that to go to the School of Excellence, and the School of Excellence would then pick from there your England national team and your GB national team. Now, I think you'd be better suited getting loads more games between the best players in the country, and let these boys play some, and girls play some competitive hockey. There's far too many blowouts in junior hockey, and we all know. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Mark. It says you don't get a jersey for the £100, possibly a t-shirt. So my source in the EIHA is wrong. But again, it's money that's been spent on shit that it doesn't need. Why do you need a t-shirt? You don't need a fucking t-shirt. It's a trial. You either get in or you don't. We need to stop this pussyfooting around and feel sorry. Nah, bollocks. You're either good enough or you're not. And if you're not, this is what you need to work on. If you are, this is what you need to work on. This one, I'm going to upset some people today, and I don't give a shit. So, I mean, have at it, whether I upset you or not. There's loads of you parents commenting on these threads. I can tell from the tone of the message already that your kid fucking sucks at hockey. I tell by the way you talk. And they talk about opportunities. Oh, this kid gets picked because of his dad, and this kid gets picked because of the manager. And I coached conference for 6 years. I played conference I was one of the youngest to ever make it back when it was under 12s. And I think I made it as an 8 or a 9-year-old. And I went right the way through to under 17s every year. And then not long after that, I started coaching. I believe I was 20, maybe. So I think I took 3-4 years out from finishing playing to starting coaching. And I went all the way through until I was finished. My dad, on the other hand, he had 23 years involved and 6 of those as head coach. My mum, she ran the Southwest for God knows how many years. Our integrity was never questioned. And if your kid didn't get it in, he was probably shit. Let's face it, he probably was. It was never because I like kid A better than kid B. It's because a lot of you think your kids are better than what they are. What you need to do, you need to watch a Latvian junior team play. You need to watch a Slovakian junior team play. You need to watch a German, a French, all these different nations. Because what you forget, you're thinking about the conference tournament or the trial or whatever it may be. What you need to think about is who these players are going to be playing against. So let's say kid from Swindon is 5+5 on the season in the A-League of the under 16 South. Well, brilliant. You got 10 points in 18 games. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. That kid will score 0+0 against a good ice hockey team. 0. Might not even touch a fucking puck. We struggle with the guys that are scoring 45, 50 points a year to get the puck off of these boys, to give these boys a game. The levels are so different. And I found from conference, from the coaches, so how we used to do it, it was all a scoring system. And we would ask your coaches to not only send the players, but if you're going to send me, I'll use Swindon, for example, again. Swindon are going to send me 8 players because Swindon are pretty good. So they're going to send me most of their first liners. They're probably going to send me their first choice goalie. And they may be chucking a couple of second liners into the mix. So you're probably looking at 8 kids. Guildford, probably the same. Basingstoke a little bit less because they're not quite as good as those teams back then. They might send you 5. OHA came into the fold. OHA would send you fucking 8 kids because they were legit. All of a sudden, you start going down. Gosport will send you 2 or 3. Oxford will send you 2 or 3. Milton Keynes will send you 2 or 3. And they think their kids don't get a fair crack. It's not that you don't get a fair crack. I had a kid from Theo Bundock from Oxford. He made it right the way through to the last trial. Was he talented enough to be a Southwest Conference player? No. Not for shit. Why did I keep him around? because in his first practice, he lit up 2 of our best players with open ice hits. He worked his fucking nuts off. He was first in every battle. He worked hard. Was he a conference standard player? No, he wasn't. Not in the talent that I had, but I kept him around for a good reason. Like, it's made that much of an impression on me that, God, 12 years later, I can still remember the kid's name. I can still remember the club he paid for, and I can still remember the hit he made that night in Basingstoke where the kid had his head up his ass. I remember all this stuff. The way to look at it, and this is the other thing that pisses me off for some of you lot commenting. You don't get a chance to, you never get a chance to impress. That is bollocks. It's just, and they go unnoticed. You only go unnoticed if you're not good enough. It's that simple. I'll give you an example. Swindon play Guildford at the weekend. Kid scores a hat trick. Everybody fucking notices him. He then goes on next week and he blocks a shot to save a goal, and they win 4-3 against Slough. That gets noticed. If you're doing the right things, making the right plays, being a good hockey player, you're going to get noticed. Now, if that is something, whether a coach notices you, go back to my EPL days. Sometimes we would skate and the kids would be on before. You would see the kids and you could tell the good ones because they stood out. Every single kid that steps foot on the ice, plays a shift, plays 5 shifts, plays 10 shifts, they all have a chance. They all have an opportunity. Now, it's whether you use that opportunity. Theo used that opportunity to lay 2 massive hits and probably stuck around 6 trials longer than he ever would have. But he took that opportunity to make himself noticed. He probably looked around at that trial and thought, shit, there's some good D-men here. I am not better than them. But I'm a good player and I can compete. What can I bring to the table? Well, I can bring physicality to the table. So guess what? That's what he brought. He brought physicality to the table. And that kept him around all the way to the very last cut. Now, he's unfortunate to get cut, but Southwest, like I said, we were always strong. We always had good teams. We always had good depth. And I'll use another example. So it's my under-17 season, just before Sean and Josh Waller went to Czech Republic. I had an absolutely stacked team. We're talking, God, it was stacked. Kelso, Gulliver, whoever. Maybe that was the year before. Either way, it was stacked. It got to one of the last trials, and I pretty much had my forwards. And my D weren't great. I had 3 good D-men, 1 okay D-man. And quite frankly, and this is where some of you guys might not understand, I have to take 6 D-men. I am not taking a player to conference who does not deserve to be there, then they're not good enough. Because that's on me. So even though I only had 4 conference D-men, I had to fill 6 spots. So I said to Sean Norris, I said, Shawnee, you're not making my team as a forward. Will you play D? Yeah. Absolutely no problem. And that's what he had to do to become a member of the Southwest that year. He did it. He was excellent. Absolutely excellent. He looked like he played D his whole life. But they were the sort of things that are you as a parent then looking at that roster and going, oh, well, my kid should be in that team because he had a good B League or A League season. It's really not the same. Another one I'll use, it came down to my last pick for 9th forward going into the conference weekend. Well, just before we're going to Belgium, and I had a choice between Jordan Kelso and Tyler Cooper. Tyler Cooper was legit. He's a really, really good hockey player, and it's the one cut. It's the one cut I hated having to make the whole time I was a conference coach because he was such a good player, but he didn't fit in my top 9. And you can't take extras to these tournaments, you know. Maybe you can take 10-5, 10-6, but realistically, you're going to play 9 forwards. It's running clock games, and you're going to have those lines as are. Tyler went and signed for Shattuck St Mary's that summer. He didn't sit around and bitch. He went out and he took charge, and I'm really, really happy for him that he went on and done that. Like, what a great kid. Jordan Kelso, he scores a game winner against man of the match in the final. So decisions happen, and In my whole experience of Southwest, it was never, ever, if your face fit. It was never, ever because who your mum and dad were. Like, I can't stress that enough. I cannot stress that enough. People say they don't get opportunities as well. So I'll use that conference system again. When I first started coaching in the conference system, Josh Waller and Matt Howlett were under 11s. And they were unbelievable. You watch them. I then had them at 17s. You're saying, oh, you didn't get a chance to get noticed. I noticed them every year for 6 years. Because they made themselves noticed. Was there kids on that team that I never noticed? Yeah. Are they still playing? No. Were they good enough to still play? No. You got to remember, conference in realistic terms. So me and one of my clients were working this out this week. If you look at all, let's use 16s. Let's say there's 45 clubs. There'll be less than that. Sorry, that's not 45 clubs. Let's say there's 25, 30 clubs, north and south, and we're averaging 20, 25 kids a go. The chances of you, 25 kids times 30 clubs, let's say for argument's sake, the chances of you making the national team is 2.407%. So you have less than 2.5% chance of making your national team. That's not a lot. That's really not a lot. And then if you start thinking about kids playing up and other factors and kids coming back from the States and all these factors that come into play, that 2.5%, it dwindles. It dwindles down to 0.5%, 1%. Now, you've then got to be in the top 1% of your sport in your country to represent your nation. Now, are there going to be people that are in that 3 to 5 to 6%? Absolutely. There's going to be people knocking on the door. What we don't have in this country is an abundance of depth. We never have, and it's generally got worse. When I played, at least the depth was a little bit better than it is now. When my brother played juniors, the depth was not great. His age group was quite a shit year. But when he played up, they were good. And when the kids came up from below, they were good. You then go on to the years after my brother. You got your Dowdies and your Farmers and your Bounsies and guys like that who have gone on. All these people have played conference, by the way. There isn't many people or any. I'd have to fact check myself, but I bet you there's not a Brit in the Elite League that didn't go through the conference system. Let that sink in for a little while. Why they ever changed it to the showcase? Because let me tell you, there won't be many kids from that showcase that are going anywhere. Not unless they change it up real quick. I want to share some results with you. We put let me see if I can find it. We put a post out today, and it was a poll. And on that poll, it gave you 4 options. Now, the votes were between a whole conference weekend, a whole showcase, a Sheffield conference weekend, and a Sheffield showcase. Now, so far, that's not right. Let's have an update and see how many votes. So far, there were like 500 votes when I last checked. And the percentages, hopefully you lot at the EIHA or England Ice Hockey are watching, because this isn't done to be a dick. This is done because people need to know. And so 569 votes on the Facebook one. The whole conference weekend had 38% of the votes. The Sheffield conference weekend had 59% of the votes. The Sheffield showcase had 2% of the votes, and the whole showcase had 1% of the votes. Now, that is 7 votes. Oh, and accidentally, one of them is us. So that's 6 votes for the Sheffield showcase. That is, in fact, 1 vote for the whole showcase. It goes to show you that the people don't want it. They don't want it. It doesn't work. The fact that they're pumping their tires about it this year, unless you change it, it's not going to work. And I'll tell you for why. I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Conference. You have these trials. Then cuts to the team. You have the training. Might only be 2 or 3 sessions. Might be 4 sessions if you're lucky. You then go off to France. You go to Belgium. You play 5, 6, 7 games. You're away for 3-4 days. You're on the bus. You're in the hotel. You're bonding. The boys are ripping the piss out of each other. Honestly, it's probably the most fun I have playing, coaching, whatever. When you go on those trips, I was a young coach, being around a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-old lads that are cutting into the EPL at that point. And you just let them have fun. And by the time you come back from those trips, the boys are all buzzing for the week after or 2 weeks after to get to Hull. They can't wait. They are so dialed in. They're so ready. You've got systems. You've got all of this in play. You know what your breakout is. You know what your PP lines are. You know all of these type of things that are going to help you compete the following week to really make an impact, to stand out. You know, I think my last 2 years of Southwest 17s, let's say we had 40 kids, 20 and 20, well, near as damn it. Maybe 2 kids didn't make the GB squad, GB trials. The first year, I think we had 12 out of the 20 skaters in the GB team. So if you're getting these kids noticed, it helps having systems. It helps having plays. This showcase, they turn up and they're splitting the kids and they're playing 2 games. 2 games isn't enough for a showcase for a start. And these kids have never played before. You just chuck it, right? All of a sudden, I'm chucked on a line with a guy from Sheffield and a guy from Bradford. One of my D-men's from Solihull and the other one's from Guildford. Might know them kids from playing against them or something the whole way through, but I've never played on a line with them. And I don't know what their tell is. I don't know when they want to open up for a one-timer or their communication or all of these different things that you have to take into consideration. Now, are you giving the kids the best opportunity to be prepared and showcase themselves if they are not prepared in the way that they have been for the last however long, 20, 30, 40 years? It's hard to see if Kid A from Sheffield is going to be able to play with a kid from Basingstoke that they've never spoke to. And don't get me wrong, you give these kids a couple of practices, you give them some time to get to know each other, they will do that. But with the showcase, that isn't the case. Sorry, excuse me, I'm just going to take a little drink. Get your comments in. Dan Needham making the All-Star team. I don't actually know what that's about. Not going to lie. I sent Danny Myers a message today. And I told him I was going to come on here and what I was going to do. And I asked him some opinions. And, you know, he's someone whose opinion I highly admire and respect everything that comes out of his mouth. Do I always agree with Danny? Probably not. But 99.9% of the time, I probably do. He said something I found really interesting. He said, do you want this showcase, tournament, conference, whatever you want to call it? He said, do you want it to be for identification or do you want it to be best on best? Because it can't be both. And I've never looked at it that way before. And it's a really fantastic way of looking at it. Because ultimately at that showcase last year, from speaking to a couple of players who I think are doing well in NIHL 1, some are playing national, that they popped down and played in that last year, they said the standard was atrocious. There shouldn't be kids playing in under 17, under 18 showcases that can't fucking skate backwards, that don't know how to receive a puck on their backhand, that every kid on that ice should better pick the puck up at the red line, take 3-4 hard strides, be over the blue line, and you should be able to go hit that post, hit that crossbar, hit that top corner, hit that bottom corner, and they should be able to do it at that level. If you can't, you shouldn't be anywhere near those tournaments. Like, nowhere near. And then here's another thing. This is the one that's going to probably upset some of you, but you probably need to hear it. So everyone talks about the opportunities, and Kid A gets more opportunity than Kid B. Ask yourself, is all your kids doing turning up to training on a Monday and Wednesday and then turning up to the games at the weekend? If that's your answer, that's your problem. Are they cross-playing sports? Are they in the gym? Are they, if they're too young, are they bodyweight squatting, doing push-ups, doing sprints, shooting pucks, watching hockey, studying hockey, going down to live games, going to public skates, going to camps, going to all these things? If you answer no to any of those questions, you can't bitch. because they're not doing everything that another kid will be. I know for a fact that I did that. It was no coincidence I was the best player on my team growing up as a junior. And then guess what? We add in someone like Joe Guino, strong as shit, fast, great. Now I've got someone to play with, and it builds. And then you start training together. You do your off ice. You shoot pucks. Obviously, I was lucky to grow up with a brother who played the sport as well. So it might be out in the garden shooting 500 pucks after school. It might be shooting 150 pucks before school every morning. I've seen other things on here. I think someone put it on Twitter. Maybe. Let's see if I can find it. I've got a son, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but it says, I've got a son who basically finds training so boring. He's going to be lost to the sport. He's been involved with England since the power of 10, but had enough. Doesn't fucking want it enough. There was nothing that was ever going to stop me being an ice hockey player. Nothing. Literally nothing. Me and my brother had a kit on in the house, running each other, trying to hip check each other over the fucking sofa. You could hip check back in the day. So guess what? We practiced it. I knew I was going to play a role where I was going to have to fight. Me and my brother at the end of every under-19 practice, Monday night, Wednesday night, 5-10 minutes, tying up, practicing, switching hands. Why do you think I could throw lefts? It was no accident that I could throw lefts. It was worked on. I had a punch bag up. It was taped up, hanging at the top of the stairs. There was a hockey jersey on it, which was taped. There was 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was hit those spots, hit that spot, hit that spot. It wasn't an accident that I could fight when I got to the EPL or the Elite League. It was because I'd worked my bag off to do that. Why should a kid, we're the same age, let's say we're 15. Why should a kid that just turns up on Monday and Wednesday and the weekend get the same opportunities? They haven't earned those opportunities. And I ask you this, be very honest with yourself. Is your kid putting in extra work off the ice? Are they putting extra work in at the end of practice? Are they asking the coach for advice? It might be something stupid. Like back in my day, it was Pavel Bure. I would then get any tape, any video, anything I could and watch Pavel Bure and watch what he did. And when he come down on that breakaway and he pulls it from his backhand, kicks it off his skate, dekes round. I then practiced that for a month. All these kids doing the Michigan now. I was doing that when I was in Florida fucking 20 years ago, 23 years ago. Going through the legs, lacrosse style, over the shoulder. This was all being done. I don't know why people think it's new. This was done when I was a kid. But guess what? The kids that could do it were the kids that practiced it. Would a kid on the third line be able to pick the puck up, fucking throw it over his back? No, it wouldn't. But did I ever see a kid in the third line practicing that? No, I didn't. You got to put in what you want to get out. And I know this all sounds harsh, and some of you are probably like, fuck you, Watty, you're talking shit. You're entitled to your opinion, and I won't hold it against you. But what I don't like seeing is this kid's only in because of his dad. Another one on Twitter today, X. And the junior squad, at least the Youth Olympic Games, has become more about who's bested with a coach and his kid than actually talented. So, I mean, you're calling Danny Meyer's integrity into question there, which, are you fucking nuts? Meyers, if he thought Joel wasn't good enough, would fucking cut Joel, let me tell you. Let me tell you. If he thought he wasn't good enough, he wouldn't be there. Let alone his mates. He wants the best for junior hockey in the UK. So to call his integrity into action is a piss take. Is his kid better than yours? Probably. Tough. His kid also gets unlimited access to fucking Ozone ice time. And guess what? Anytime I've ever been at Ozone and saw Joel, he's working on his skating, he's working on his shooting, he's working on his skills. Before that, he's in Swindon, Guildford. He's honing his skills. And I'm just using him as an example because obviously, okay, Mummy Moore's on the comments. That's BS because Danny's boy's a great D man. This is my point. This is my point. I'm going to go back to the ratings. Sorry, I'm doing a bit of a Billy Connolly here. I'm going to jump all over. back to being a conference coach, back to asking the coach and the players and everybody, the team staff. So let's say Gosport, Swindon, you know, send me your ratings, rate these kids. So bear in mind, like I said, been watching Josh Waller since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. It now gets to the opportunity where I get to coach him. I had a guy from Gosport send me a kid at the start. I remember it because it sticks out in my memory because it might be the most fucking stupid thing I've ever heard in UK hockey. He sent me a kid that played 18 B-League games. He had 0+1. And if I'm not mistaken, the highest rating you could possibly be was a 7. He rated this kid as a 7. Milos had Josh Waller as a 6. He was the most complete fucking 15-year-old you've ever seen. There wasn't really much to his game. But Milos, being a good coach, went, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but it might have been weak on the right crossover. Sometimes takes a little bit too long on the part. Blah, blah, blah. So you're now telling me Josh Waller, who just led the A-League that year, is not as good as a kid from Gosport who got 1 assist in 18 games against fucking numpties. This is where it fell down. And something that I would suggest that is a must, it got suggested 20 years ago and nobody seems to have taken it on board. Every single coach in the entirety of the UK, not England, not Scotland, not Wales, not Belfast, all of us, everybody in the mix. Every single coach, every single age group, as part of their qualification for you know, like you got to do your reset every 2 years, 3 years. I don't know what it is now. I've been out the game for so long. You should have to go and watch what conference used to be and see what a 7 is. A 7 is rarer than rocking horse shit. That's a Kieran Brown. That's a Alex Graham. That's a Ben Bounds. If you rate your players properly, we won't think you're fucking morons. If you'd have sent me that kid and said he's a 4.5, instantly I look at him, I go, okay, he's a 4.5, bring him up, we'll see what he's about. Very quickly you'll learn it, not very good. But it makes it worse if you pump their tires up and tell them you're something you're not. Because it's just a lying load of bullshit. Now, the other side of that is that coach might have only ever seen B-League games. So thinks this kid is actually good. And for a club like Solent, maybe he was good. But you're not competing to get one of 15, one of 20 spots on a Solent. You're essentially competing to get an opportunity to get a GB or an England trial. So in my case, you're going to the Southwest. Okay, so you've got to be one of the best 20 kids in the Southwest. Bearing in mind, you've got OHA, Swindon, Guildford, Basingstoke, etc. Bracknell back then, before Bracknell went tits up. So you've got 5 solid, established A-League clubs. Now, let's say they all send 5 to 8 players. They're going to be the 5 to 8 best players from each team in that A-League are going to be way better than any of the players in the B-League. If you're a parent and your kid is exceptional in a B-League, move fucking clubs. Doesn't matter what you do. It could be Sunday League. If your kid's playing under 13s football in the 4th division on a Sunday and scoring 45 goals a season because you can't be bothered to go further than the park behind your house, guess what? Your kid's going to get a better opportunity if you drive 20 minutes down the road and play in Division 1. It is. Because guess what? No scouts are coming to watch the B League, the C League. It's not happening. It's a waste of resources. The resources are very limited, and that is a complete waste of my resource. One kid actually who was from the B League, and he tore it up. 146 points, I think, the 1 year. And his name was Aidan Doughty. He was on the Isle of Wight, and I get it, he couldn't travel. Aidan was ripping it up, but we always wanted to see him go to the A-League to really test himself. He come up to trials, and we cut Aidan after a couple of trials. And what it was, and it's funny now that you see him, he's a fully grown man, he's physical, he's a beast. In my opinion, at that time, he was not strong enough physically and ready for it, even though he was a big kid. So might have been Harvey Stead, it might have been someone. I was sat on top of the DJ box in Basingstoke. I walked round to the bench. And I said to two of my D men, next time the kid gets a fucking puck, I want you to run him because I want to see what he does. And he packed his tent. As soon as he packed his tent, he was gone. He could have reacted differently. Did he have talent? Yes. But again, he's got to be better than 9 other forwards from the best clubs in the country, the best clubs in your region. That is a very, very difficult task. And Aiden's obviously gone on great things. I think he's a fantastic player. He was a fantastic player then. He could snipe. The kid could snipe. But when you're trying to pick the best of the best, something's got to give. Now, I think, guys, let me know. Put some comments in. I feel like I'm just playing tennis into the drapes here. Get some comments going. There's other guys. Oh, there you go. Because Gabriel was in. Said more. This kid's legit. Like, I think he's got 40 goals in the NHL 1 this year. Is he going to get picked up? Yeah. Has he not had any opportunities with the Bees? So fucking what? So what? Because guess what? There is a coach in the National League right now that is looking at that. He's calling Ben Painter and saying, Paints, what was this kid like when he played against you? Morsey, what was this kid like when he played against you in Oxford? I was there. He got a hat-trick. You might not think your kid's getting noticed. If they're doing the right things, let me promise you, they're being noticed. Whether that be, I might be stood at, let's say I go down to the Ozone to visit 40, shoot the shit, and I'm stood at the side of the rink. I'm like, who's this kid? Who does he play for? I just watched his hands. Amazing. Great skater. Oh, he's so-and-so from where? Okay, so now my eye's on. I might then speak to, let's say he was from Guildford. I might then speak to Milos next time I'm over at a Flames game. Oh, Milos, Potsy. All right, boys. Oh, I saw this kid at Ozone. Tell me a little bit more about him. Oh, well, actually, Watty, he's been really solid for us this year. He's got a great attitude. First on the ice at training, last off, picks the pucks up, takes the nets off. On a game day, he's leading the stretch. These are all things that you want to be hearing. Is your kid a leader? Is your kid a good teammate? Does your kid put the team first? These are all questions that people that should be in the positions would be looking to have answered. Now, I'm going to go to the other side of it. Is there too many dads involved in coaching? Yes. Is there too many dads that don't have a fucking clue? Yes. But you got to take the rough with the smooth. My dad coached me. I was the best player on the team. He then went down and coached my brother. He was the best player on the team. We weren't getting ice time because he was the coach. I got the fucking raw end of the deal and chewed out more than anybody because me and my dad clashed because you expect a level. Andy Brown, Coach Kieran. Do you think Kieran got a fucking easy ride? Bullshit. I saw Andy and Kieran talking at conference when he was under 13s. Andy wasn't suffering bullshit from him. He's like, put some effort in or you're done. Like, these guys that are playing for their dads. Jeff Greener was coach. Joe Greener was the best player. Lester Myers was coach. Danny Myers was the best player. I think what the problem is now is the coaches that maybe are of the kids that their kid's not the best player. And that's when it falls down. If you've got a kid who realistically should be 9 forward and because his dad's playing, he's on the first line, that's bullshit. That's some bullshit. That's some weak-ass bullshit that needs to be nipped in the bud. And that needs to be nipped in the bud from the top. So whether it's your club chairman, let's use Basingstoke as an example when I'm growing up. So you got a club chairman, chairwoman, you got a head coach, you then have a club coach, maybe some assistant coaches. There's rungs to it. But if that chairman is willing to allow little Johnny's dad to be coach, and little Johnny's not very good, and he keeps seeing little Johnny go out on the ice, he's either got to walk into the locker room and say, this shit needs to stop, or he's going to say, put your resignation on my desk. Enough's enough. Or what we used to do in conference, and I'm sure in the latter years in Basingstoke, if your kid's an under 12, you can coach conference. You can't coach under 12s. You can coach under 16s. That's fine. If your kid's an under 16, you can't coach under 16s. You can do under 11s, whatever it is. But you can't coach your own kid's age group because, sorry, another comment. But he plays in the B League. Yeah, I would just advise any of you that have kids in the B League that are generally good players, leave. I'm sorry to all the clubs that are in the B League. I know that's really shit for you, but it's hard enough to get competitive hockey in the A League. It's even worse to get it in the B League. Let's face it, B League hockey is essentially learn to play. In our country, B League hockey in France, be fine. Germany, be great. Here, it's not. We struggle to have enough talent to have a good A League. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about these decisions. Also, you're allowed to play hockey for fun. You don't all have to want to be hockey players. Like Simon Beer is a prime example. One of the best juniors I've ever played with. Could stick out of the phone box, got a rapid slap shot, a mean snapshot. Went in, did a little bit of time in EPL with the Isle of Wight. But he was always going to be a Sparks. He was always going to be in a family trade. Guy's driving an R8. He's driving a BMW M3. He's got his nice big house. All of these things. He chose a career. Some guys are going to do that. So he had played hockey for his fun. He played for the Buffalo. And he went to work. And he got a good career. And many guys would have done that. And I know many guys that have done that. You look at Greg Owen. Great job in design. Could he have carried on for a few more years? Of course he could have. But they take the other option. That hockey should be fun, first and foremost. Tom Norton, it seems like you have some dirt on your chest. Just a little bit of ink, mate. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Got more to come. But I would love to see... I'd love to see it go back to the conference. And this is how I would have it. It was what I was trying to get every year, the whole time I was there. Running clock. It needs to stop. It's not ice hockey. You got teams cheating the clock. You got teams icing the park. You know, you got. It's not hockey. It's running clock hockey, but it's not hockey. We've done it. I'd say to Ethan James, right, we're 2-1 up. There's 3 minutes to go. Right. Next time you freeze the puck, 15 seconds. Because until that last 2 minutes, you can run that clock to the last 2 minutes or last minute and it stops. Run the clock down. There's more opportunity for us to kill the game off. Realistically, that's not hockey. Because that's not going to happen when you become a senior. That's not going to happen if you go to the World Championships. That's not going to happen if you play Pool A, Pool B. It's just not going to happen. If you then go out and... Tom, I don't actually know who you are. Is this podcast for local people? Be as local as you like, lad. I don't know. I thought you were the Tom Norton. I'm guessing you're not. But I forgot what I was going to say, so I'm going to move on. I want to look at... sorry. I want to look at the best way of getting the best out of it. Let's scrap that. Let's scrap 7 a.m. fucking 6 a.m. face-offs. How are you supposed to have kids compete? I remember some years in conference, it would be, we got a 10 a.m. game, a 9:30 p.m. game, and then a 6 a.m. game. It's like, what the fuck the next day? Like, how are you supposed to do anything with that? So you split it to 11s and 17s, 13s and 15s. You have them on separate weekends over 3 days. You play 4 full games, and then you either do the final or you do the third and fourth. So you've got 5 opportunities to shine, or if you're the bottom place team, you've got 4 opportunities to shine. But you play against Scotland, you play against the North, you play against the South East, you play against Southwest Midlands. You do all of it. You have trials that start in September. The team cannot be picked until the end of January, start of February. Everybody goes away for a trip in half term, whether it's, I don't know when it is, the Easter half term. You do the Easter half term, you come back, you have another practice as a team. You then go off to these tournaments, and they're proper games. Under 11s, under 17s, under 13s, under 15s. Proper refereeing. We were lucky enough that over the years, Dave Cloughton and people like that were involved in getting the youngsters, the next up and coming crop coming through to cut their teeth. Some of them are probably still in the Elite League now. There is so many angles you can take. But the showcase for me is all wrong. And I'm sure there's people that have worked very hard on the showcase, but I don't understand, if it ain't broke, why fix it? There's no reason to change the conference as a whole. There was things you can change to make it better, absolutely. Full games, decent face-off times, and that's just the way it is. I think going back to when I was doing conference, certain years were different than others. The years that I got my way, every single player had to stay in the hotel. I didn't give a shit if the parents didn't, especially once they were like 16, 17. We always stayed at the marina over the road from the ice rink. Now, I'm quite happy for you to pay for you and little Johnny's son to go in together and share a room, and you go and stay in another hotel. I didn't care. But my rule was 20 boys. One of them goes for a piss, they all go for a piss. One of them goes for a Subway, that's where everybody eats. One of them goes for a warm-up, 20 of them go for a warm-up. You ask, and there was a player who sat in the stands with his girlfriend. He's 16 years old. You ask him how he got on with that. If you can't be away from your girlfriend for fucking 3 days for an ice hockey tournament, I don't want you on my team. That's not what that tournament's about. You got to make a decision. You got to decide. You're there to try and get a GB trial, and that's what it should be. Your entire focus. Every shift, block a shot, make a hit, back check so hard you feel like you're going to puke all over the ice. Right, who is this little fucking helmet in the comments? Put the user in the timeout. Yeah, for 24 hours. He's getting my fucking tips. You little fucking gimp. Yeah, like, I just want to see progression. And the progression that we're going to see is going to come from proper games of hockey, having Scotland back involved. How the hell Scotland were not in the mix, I will never know. I know they're back this year, but you got to look at some of the things that JT and John and the guys in Scotland are doing, and you got to take on board what they're doing and build upon it. Talk to them, communicate, find out what's best. Maybe the best thing to do is, and I like this idea. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, right? In France, they play their leagues as they would. And then there's also a secondary league, and that is made up of regions. And the regions play a league all year. So the best on the best get to play. Yeah, you're going to get your blowouts in your normal league games, but then it becomes best on best. And North France take on Northwest France, and they take on South France, and there's this whole regional thing going on where they're getting good hockey. They're getting good hockey. They're getting good hockey. Andrew Williamson, Scotland have always produced good young players. Yeah, totally. This shirt here, this gold medal there. There was a bunch of guys that were Scottish. Sick. Like, and I'll take my age group, for example. Adam Walker, Scott McKenzie, Barry McKenzie, Chad Reekie, Scott McAndrew. Give me a goalie. Give me a Scottish goalie. I can't think. But they were talented. They were really talented. There was always good players, and we always had good battles. My last year of conference, me and Adam Walker, we had 9 points each in the. We played 5 games. Southwest, the Scotland final. George Murray, what a fucking weapon that kid was. What an absolute weapon. I'll tell you a funny story in a sex vote. But going back to that last year, so me and Adam Walker had, and this is when you go to about, is your face fit? Me and Adam Walker had 9 points each. We played off in the final. I believe Scotland beat us, actually. Maybe 4-3, if I remember correctly. Me and Adam didn't make the All-Star team. Ollie Broderman had 0+1, made the All-Star team. Figure it out. Did we sulk? No. We then went on and played GB. And funnily enough, my boy Tommy Carlon that said George Murray there, Tommy was my line mate, and Mark Richardson was our other line mate at the point before Richie became a D-man and decided to have a 48-year career. And all the power to him. But Richie was a very good forward back then. And we had guys that were extremely good, and I still think we had guys on that GB team that probably didn't deserve to be there, not based on talent. The year before was worse, and this is where I will say, if you're face fitted, the year before, Bean, Alan Anderson, everyone knows him. I don't like him. Worst fucking coach I've ever played for. And the reason I don't like him, he took a bunch of kids from Fife that were fucking shite. Me and Joe Greener had just literally kicked the fucking shit out of them in Telford tournament, beat them up, battered them, and they hadn't lost. Fife hadn't lost in 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was. They're exceptional. We kicked them up and down Telford ice rink, and then we beat the shit out of them in the last fucking minute. Half of those guys made the team. They were fucking hopeless. That's why we got dicked in that tournament. Like, and don't get me wrong, we were at a good division, Division 1A. We were playing against Germany, Latvia, Austria. We were playing against good nations, and quite rightly, we got smoked. There was probably 5 kids at home that if those Scottish kids didn't come, we would have stayed in that division. We would have stayed in that division. There was no doubt in my mind. Had Pete Russell, who came in the next year and got us this puppy, we would have stayed in that division, and we would have had 2 years. Good evening, 4,000 counting him. I'm a presenter on LBC and would love to come on my show on Friday to talk about ice hockey and ice hockey accessories. Yeah, man, hit me up. I'm down. I don't really know what LBC is, or I don't really know what ice hockey accessories are. We'll talk. Nah, I joke. But yeah, James, do it, man. Always down to talk. I hope you have a swear button. I might not be your best person for as long as it's not live, mate. We'll be good. Just quickly, while I remember, shout out Tony Hand. He's going in for some heart surgery, so all the best to Sir Tony. Hope he's going to smash through that and he's back on the bench in Whitby very, very soon. Let's go down to a different route. We've hammered that showcase thing for 50 minutes. I didn't realize I was going to talk about it for that long. Let's go to the GB national team. It has been announced, and we kind of knew what to be expected with the team. The game's going to be held in Cardiff. 4,000 counting are going to be there for the China and the Romania game. I think that's right. Not going to be there for the Serbia game, unfortunately. But the team's been announced. As expected, Ben Bounds, Jackson Whistle, they're going to be between the pipes. And there's nobody else that you can even consider at the moment. Headley, Gospel, yes, they're the next in line, but they are, I don't mean to be dicks, but they're not Pool A goaltenders. They're really not Pool A goaltenders because they've never got an experience. Would this be a great time to try and get some experience and get those guys involved with the camp? Yeah, I think so. I would love to. Obviously, Jordan's been there as a third kind of choice. I would love to see both of those lads in and around the squad. You know, that Serbia game, not being a prick, but we should bury them. Like, bury them. Smash them into the ice. Like, I'll check you out, James. I'll check you out, boy. Quite big. I don't know what you mean. Am I going to open up a Grinder page or something? You never know with these comments on these YouTube videos. There's people put shit in here. But yeah, James, I will hit you up, mate. But you look at the goalies. After those two, where do the next ones come from? Is there good goalies in the National League? Yes. Are we going to... So here's a prime example then. We're going back to the juniors versus seniors sort of situation. Do we have 10 good goalies in the National League? Yes. Are any of them anywhere near being a Pool A goalie? No. Are they a Division 1A goalie? No. Like, they're not, because they're not playing at that level. The only way they're ever going to play at that level is if we get out of Division 2 fucking B against Mexico and fucking Faroe Islands and actually compete against some hockey nations. So guess what? If little Johnny that does go out as a 16-year-old and make the GB18's team has 4 years of playing against France, Germany, Kazakhstan, Hungary, Slovenia, Slovakia, playing against all these nations for 4 years, and then goes on to the Elite League for 2 years, and then you have to call upon them to come in and play a game against Austria at the Worlds, in the top pool, will they be ready? Fuck yeah, they'll be ready. But you've got to put them in these opportunities. If you don't put them on these opportunities, they're really, really going to struggle. And the same goes for some of the D-men, some of the forwards. We're going to get into the team here. Let me try and find the actual roster. Mark sent it to me today, or whenever it came out. This might take a while because me and Mark talk a lot of shit on here. Here we go. So, David Clements, Coventry Blaze, Nathaniel Halbert. He's out playing in Innsbruck right now. Watty, he's legit, and you would bounce off of him. Well, right, James, I'm in, man. Let's go. Sign me up. Nathaniel Halbert, HC Innsbruck, easy for me to say. Sam Jones, again, one of the guys that has taken that step up from the National League and run with it with the Sheffield Steelers. He had to cut his teeth, I think, in Fife, maybe somewhere else, but he went through Swindon. He went up there. He took his opportunity. But look at Sam. He's a personal trainer in his day job. He's working his nuts off. There's no coincidence he's one of the fittest and best D-men for a Brit in that league. He's earned his shot. Evan Mosey. I like Evan. Would I like to see a Brit in there? Maybe not quite this year, but he's coming to the tail end. I watched him in the weekend in Cardiff, Guildford. Pretty impressed with the way he played. Do I feel that there's a Brit out there that could do that job? Yeah. Give me Reece Kelly. Give me Reece Kelly. Let's go. You're telling me Reece Kelly can't come out and play against fucking Serbia? If he can play against Sheffield Steelers in Belfast fucking 30 minutes a night, 24 minutes a night, he can play against Serbia. Let me tell you that for nothing. Ben O'Connor, absolutely outstanding in that Guildford game. Guildford Cardiff, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Oki took a hold of the puck, cuts the line, fakes the shot, pump fake, shoots the puck, perfect tip in, forward couldn't miss it. He then gets the opportunity on the PP, coming down the other end. He moves again, walks right in, bang, top shelf, brilliant slap shot. Really great. Brady, you want to say hello to YouTube? Brilliant penalty shot. Unfortunate not to score. Say hi, Brady. Dada. Say hi. Say hi. Right, off you go. Give me a kiss. See you later, buddy. Yeah, like Ben O'Connor, he's a stalwart. He's going to be in that GB team as long as he wants to be in that GB team. David Phillips, there's another guy. But we do have to start looking at that decor. Mark Richardson and then Sam Roop. Right. Sam is now playing in Germany. So he's playing good hockey. We really liked him last year. Me and Mark talked about him quite a bit. We like what he brought. But you look at that D. Clemo, no spring chicken. Neither is Ben. Neither is Davey. Neither is Mark. Mark's my age. Davey, year below. I think Ben's maybe the year below that. So you're getting these guys that are coming in 30s, 34, 35, 36, 37. Evan Mosey, he's not a young guy. Where do we go from here? Because we got Reece Kelly, we've got Josh Tetlow. After that, I'm struggling, genuinely struggling to see where that next wave come from, unless players step up and take that opportunity. Let's go to the forwards. Ollie Bettridge, it's an extremely tough season for Nottingham right now. That tragic incident with Adam Johnson, and they've just not really been able to find their feet since. And any of you fans, or if you can even call yourself fans, questioning the boys after what they've went through, you have to give your head a shake. They saw their mate die on the fucking ice. They're sitting there taping their sticks, drinking coffee, shooting shit, and life's good. 10 minutes later, their mate's bled out on the ice. So, are they losing some hockey games? Yeah. Does that suck if you're a Panthers fan? Yeah. Just suck it up for one fucking season. In the summer, they'll rebuild, they'll grow, The important thing is the fact that those boys are turning up to work for you every weekend, and they're turning up to work for each other. They've made some new signings. They're not out of the playoffs yet. They've got 4 and 6 games hand in hand in certain teams. If they get a little bounce, a little run, one of the new guys becomes good, all of a sudden, don't write the Panthers off. And then if they do not win a game between now and the end of the year, fuck it. Who gives a shit? It's really not that important. For those guys, for those families, for those people, for that organization, this year is not about winning trophies. It's not even about winning games. It's about just being together and supporting each other and trying to get through this the best way that they know how, the only way that they know how. And God knows how they're doing it. Fair play to all of them for turning up every week and doing it. But if you're one of them scumbag fans that are questioning it, you need to give your fucking head a shake. Go forward. Former podcast guest, Cam Critchlow. Really impressed with him. Cam's had a great year. Everyone in Manchester speaks about what a great leader he is. Whenever I speak to Sully or some of the other boys up there, fantastic leader, does really good things for the organisation, does great things for the town. And yeah, you got to love Cammy. When we had Rob on, he talked about when he was over doing his content and doing his video and stuff, how Cam had all the boys over for Canadians Thanksgiving and just all these sort of things. Just a good egg, good player. Johnny Curran. Now, Belfast Johnny Curran, I want him nowhere near this shit. Like, points, pathetic. Coventry Blaze Johnny Curran. Sign me this guy up. I think he's 6 points in 4 games, 6 points in 6 games, whatever it is since he's been back. He's already got more points playing 6 games, 5 games, whatever it is for Coventry than he did 21 games for Belfast. Sometimes you just need that G up, and he's gone back to what he knows. He was extremely good for Coventry last year and previous. I think he's a good addition. Would I rather Kieran Brown take his spot? Fuck yeah. Like, it's not even a contest. I think Kieran Brown could do what he does. I think Kieran Brown could do better than what he does. Is that taking anything away from Johnny? No, it's really not. He's a good hockey player. But if we're going to give Brits the opportunity to get better before we just end up with a team of walking sticks and fucking Zimmer frames, then Serbia, Romania, and China, it's time to do it. If we want to be taken seriously as a proper Pool A nation, then we got to blow these 3 teams out the water. Like they can't even be close games. Like at home, it's especially after losing to Hungary at home in the qualifications last time, not acceptable. Anything less than 3 wins, not even OT wins, 3 regulation wins against these nations. That's what we should be looking at. We should be looking to set an example to the juniors and showing what is achievable. Like obviously the under-20s, Kieran Brown's been exceptional this season, Andrew says. Kieran Brown's been exceptional since he was fucking 10 years old. Like, I've watched him, and he's done it at every level he played at. I don't know why people think that he wouldn't do it if he stepped up. He really would. Robert Dowd, man, needs no introduction, no explanation, no anything. He is a certified stud. Liam Kirk, our boy Kirky, ripping it up and lifting off. I'm not a name guy. This is why we need Mark here. He's a name guy. But yeah, Kirky, apparently just doing exceptional and check. Loving his time there, learning loads, improving. I like the fact that he's gone into the middle. I think that gets him more reps on the puck. And the more reps Kirky has on the puck for Great Britain, the better it's going to be for our nation. Lacko, 900 games in the Elite League. Not bad, eh? He's made the squad once again. You need a Lacko or a Benny Davis. And it looks like that was probably the conversation that the coaching staff had. Do we take Lacko? Do we take Benny? They took Lacko. You can't grumble either way. I'd have been happy with either one of those lads. Ben Lake having an exceptional year for Belfast. I like him. He's a spit, sawdust, sandpaper, no lube finish, just greasy. He's got mad skill as well, but he plays the game the right way. He's got an edge. Not afraid to drop him, which means nothing in World Champs, but it does mean that he's willing to go to the dirty areas. He's willing to put his head in there, put his face in there, put his stick in there, put his wrist in there. He's going to block a shot. He's going to do whatever it takes. Exceptional on the draw. Just a really good player. Cade Nielsen. Cade's actually really improved this year. Obviously, probably limited minutes in his role with Alaska over the last few years, but now coming into his own NCAA, 10 points in 22 games, which for NCAA hockey is good. Unless you're like a Hobie Baker guy. Not many guys are rolling over a point a game. So half a point a game at that level, the games are tight. It's good hockey. We've already seen what he could do at that top level. I love Cade. I think he's a great player. And he's got like no teeth and shit. And he's fucking got long hair. Just put it in speed drive. I'm about... Well... There's a lot of fucking autistic people in these comments today. Jesus Christ. They're not even hockey people. I don't even know how they found this stream or why they're watching. But yeah, so be it. Shawnee Norris, he gets his call up. Brett Panini, Josh Waller, and I'm really happy to say Brandon Whistle's got his call up. I think he really deserves it. Josh Waller, obviously exceptional talent. Brett Panini, we know what Brett's all about. We know what those Panini boys are, what they're like. Good hockey players. Shawnee, 2+5 in 23 games. I would have personally taken Kieran Long. And I would have had Shawnee there, don't get me wrong. I'd have had him in and amongst it. But I think Kieran Long probably wanted to be in the mix. Pete Russell doesn't fancy him for whatever reason it is. I mean, I think I know. But, you know, that is old news. It would be great if those two could see eye to eye and have Kieran. He's one of the best British forwards. Demon. He's a bit of a utility guy now. One of the best out there that there is. Outside. In fact, even with all those people in the lineup, we get in a penalty shot, I'll put Kieran Long in front of all of them. Like, it's filthy. It's filthy what he can do. Right, let me just shut this geezer up on the comment section. He's getting on my tits. Ooh, yeah, that's an emotional one. Imagine what Kieran Brown and Alex Graham would have done on Team GB in a couple of years. Yeah, man. Yeah. God rest his soul, man. I fucking miss him. Got a great kid. That has always puzzled me about Kieran. I'll tell you what. You and everybody else, me except especially. Now, the one that kind of did the rounds when we shared the team was, why is Lewis Hook not in it? He's the top scorer in Britain in the league, 32 points, sitting 7 points off the Elite League lead. It's only going to be from what happened in Belfast, and I'm not going to be the one to air that on here. It's been shared around. People kind of know what happened. If you don't really need to know, but the reason that he's not there is nothing to do with what he's doing on the ice. And I don't think as a nation we are good enough or have enough depth that we can be getting caught up in all this shit. We need our best players, and we need them at every tournament, whether it be a qualification, whether it be the Worlds, whether it be a fucking warm-up tournament, whatever it is. We need our best players. We don't have the, Canada can send their fourth string to the world champs. America could probably send their second or third string. Sweden, they can send their fourth string. They'll be good and they'll be competitive. We need our A team all day long. And that's every tournament we play. But that is a team, and that is the boys that we have going out to Cardiff to compete for the opportunity to then go on to the final stage of Olympic qualification. Now, the next stage gets dicey. Slovakia are in there. Hungary are in there. We've talked about it on here before. Norway are in there. Denmark are in there. Like, we are going to have to win this tournament, and then we're going to have to beat some very, very good hockey teams. But surely, if we make the Olympics, they've got to put some fucking money in. They've got to put us on the telly. Prime time. They have to, because we'll be in the Winter Olympic Games. There's no way that the BBC do not have Team Great Britain on at 7:30 on a fucking Saturday in the in the Olympics if they're playing Canada. So if we get there, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities. Will we get there? There's a lot of hard work to be done. But we've shown that we can compete against Denmark's maybe a bad example. I was at that game in Kasich, and they got smoked. It was probably the worst GB performance in the last 4 or 5 years. But outside that, when they've played against those other teams in and around France, Austria, and other types of teams like that, GB have looked good. America, they look good. Sweden, they look good. They've looked good against good nations. So there is opportunities. Next up, we had the kids go out to the Youth Olympic Games, and they had some fucking hide-ins, and they gave some hide-ins. But I hope Danny doesn't mind me sharing this, so I don't. But I asked him like what he thought about his opinion on the tournament and these type of things. He was like, I had probably 2 kids on the roster that ever blocked a shot before. He's like, by the end of the tournament, they're chucking their faces in front of pucks and stuff like that. That tells me these kids want to be hockey players. How they want to learn. And they're willing to learn. And there's hope for these kids in years. And they got that experience. And they learn how to battle on the boards. They learn how to win a board battle. What to do if you lose a board battle. They're learning things that they're probably not learning at club level. The other thing is, when you play against nations that are better than you, you have to get damn sight better at playing off the puck. Because guess what? You ain't going to have the puck a lot. And any of our kids that go on and play, if we want to be a Pool A nation, we ain't going to have the fucking hockey puck against Sweden. We ain't going to have the hockey puck against America. Do you think GB men will stay up after Prague? Yeah. I'm going to be patriotic. I reckon the boys can get it done. I reckon they can get it done. They can definitely pick up a victory. A couple of OT defeats would probably be enough. If we could get 1 win and 2 OT defeats, I think 5 points would probably be enough to stay up in the division. Let me double check who we've got in our group again, because it's been so long I can't actually remember. Who's all going to Prague? Anybody going? I haven't booked anything yet, but I'm sure I'll try and get out there because I'm actually in Prague in about a month today, to be fair. So we open up our tournament against Canada, which, you know, if you can keep that within 5 or 6, 7 or 8, not bad. Doesn't get any easier. We then take on Finland. So let's say from day 1 and 2, we're going to get sweet fuck all. That's fine. It's after that we need to start coming together. We then play Switzerland. Again, extremely, extremely tough game. But a game, if the systems are right and everything fires into a place, we could easily take them boys to overtime. It's going to be hard graft. Denmark, again, it's that thing. Could we take Denmark? Yeah. Where do these fucking mutants come from? Piss off. Sorry, I'm just blocking weirdos on our comment section. Yeah, let's go back. Denmark, I think as long as we don't compete like we did last time, it's a winnable game. And then it gets down to the business end. We play against Czech in Prague. Probably not going to go our way. Norway, I think that's a team that we could beat, although Norway are very good. And then the final day, we take on Austria. We absolutely shit the bed against Austria. We were the better team for a long time. And in the end, I think they won 5-3, 5-4. It wasn't much in it. One of their players, I think it was their captain, he just put the boys on their back and went to work. And we shit the bed. That's a game that we should have won previously. And this is a game that I believe that we should win again. Now, that's not taking anything away from Austria. You look at their top league, I believe the imports are 6 to 8. The rest of the kids are Austrian. it's a good league. Me and Mark went out and watched a game in Vienna last year. Hockey's decent, very similar standards to the Elite League. But the difference being the fact that it's very similar standards to the Elite League is that there's 12 to 15 Austrian kids on each roster. Whereas in the Elite League, there's 4 or 5 Brits. Now, that's a big difference. That's how they can compete. The fact that it's almost that good or as good as the Elite or, similar par. The fact that they can do that, put that many bodies out, all Austrian, and allow them to develop. Their pool, when it comes to picking tournaments like this, their pool's probably double or treble ours. Maybe even more. So, yeah. What else have we got on the agenda? Yeah, so Danny said the kids improved. And we looked at some of the results and we were like, holy shit, 24-1 and stuff. He said, realistically, if you look at these games, you kind of chop them in a third. So, like a 24-1 is probably more like a 7-1, 7-0 in a 5-on-5 full ice game. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what you're looking at. He texted me today saying, because I asked him like how the rest of the tournament stuff was going on. Latvia beat the Kazakhs in the semi-final today at that tournament, 20-4, which is, in Danny's opinion, around about a 7-1 score line on a 5-on-5. But these are the nations we need to compete against: Latvia, Kazakhstan, Germany. Get in and amongst it against those teams and continue to do better and continue to do good. What do you think about Olympics coming to Burnham next summer? Would you say what? What? Where are all these fucking idiots coming from in the comment section? Jeez. I'm seeing a lot of new faces and they're all twats, so they're all getting blocked. I would love to see some of these kids that have been in this tournament go on and have really successful careers. And you look at the GB18s that have been announced. Me and Mark spoke about it. I butchered some names. But, there's the bulk of that roster is coming from outside of the UK. Our best talent shouldn't have to leave to get good coaching, to get good ice time, to get competitive games. We should be able to have that here. We have some great facilities. We have some great coaches. I mean, losing at OHA is a damn shame. You look at all the boys that went through that OHA program that are now in the National League: Matt Cowlett, Harry Gulliver, Ballant, Podolsky. There's a shit ton more. Jordan Kelso in the Elite League. There's a lot of kids that went through that program that are having really good careers. And that is the fact that they were on the ice every day. They were at school. They were in the gym. They were strength and conditioning. They had that year round. Did they have competitive games here? No, they smashed the shit out of everybody. But they went off to Austria. They went off to Canada. They went to these tournaments. They competed against OHA Europe. They did all these things that are going to make these players better. And not even make them better, but get them ready for men's hockey. That's what we're trying to do with juniors. And if your kid's playing and they don't want to be a senior hockey player, you maybe have to ask what they want to do, because it ain't five-a-side power league. It's not a game of table tennis or badminton down your fucking local court. That's not what it is. Ice hockey's a sport. You have to be all in. You do have to be all in. And if you're not all in, you ain't going to get the breaks. You're not going to get the breaks. Tell you what, who are all in though? Our girls, our GB18s girls. Shout out to you ladies. Fantastic silver medal. Obviously, China had a couple of years out due to COVID, and they've come back. They got put in our division. They shit kicked everybody. They were too good. China were too good at the women's level. Shout out to China. Well done to them. But Great Britain, they did the very best. Another 4 victories, which is all we can ask for. Some exceptional scoring going by some of the girls. Let's have a look here. We had it. Myself and Mark were talking about it the other day, but some of these girls, for their kind of first tournaments and stuff, absolutely ripped it up. We love to see it. Let's have a look here. See if I can find the stats. Tournament list, girls, women under 18s. So Holland's not a bad spot for it either. So GB, they pick up a 4-0 win against Kazakhstan. They lose 6-2 to China, which was one of China's closer games. Sorry, just get the rest of the scores up here. I think they beat Turkey 9-0. And they beat Holland 4-0, and they beat Latvia 3-1. So the fact that they beat Latvia 3-1, they beat Kazakhstan, both nations that are probably more known for their hockey than we are. Maybe not so much in the girls' program. I don't know, so I'm not going to profess to know that. But the fact that, other than the favourites, we beat the other 4 teams. I love the effort of the girls. That can only stand them in good stead as they move on to go into the senior ladies team. And I know that Clancy's announced a 35-woman squad today. Looking through the list, there looks to be some good players on there, which is great. Ruby Newlands, she was Great Britain's top point scorer, tied with her teammate Ellie Patrick. Both got 5 goals and 1 assist in 5 games, which is great numbers. A goal a game average at any sort of world championship level is fantastic. Shout out also to Jess Wooden. She chipped in 5 points. Jess Jones, Emma Lamberton, 4 points each. So points getting shared around quite nicely. Casey McGregor, 3 points for her. So absolutely great job by those girls. It's good to see them going out and competing. And, not only competing, they shut out Turkey. They shut out 3 teams. Let me have a look. Did I say Turkey? Let me try and find it here. Goalkeepers. Here we go. So Evelyn Brown, 4 wins, 88.33 save percentage, 1.62 goals against, and 2 shutouts. So to do that at World Championships, that's great for her. Only going to be good for her confidence leading on into the seniors, and hopefully we can start bringing some of them girls through. Right, folks, I'm almost done here. It's getting late. If you do have any questions real quick, get them in and I'll do my best to answer them. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I'll do my best to answer them. But if not, myself and Mark will be back for another episode. We're going to be talking about the NIHL 1 and NIHL 2 playoff finals weekend. I know that there's been a lot of speculation what's going to be happening, and we're going to be telling you. So it seems to have upset the apple cart what they're gonna do, and we're gonna get on here, give our opinions. Here we go. Let me have a look. So someone's just asked me a question about a kid. I'm gonna have to have a look because Wibble Sheffield. Pass, mate. He doesn't have an elite prospect. But basically, there's a kid in Sheffield playing for one of the teams, 50 assists in 14 games, no goals. Sounds like my fucking perfect line, mate. The guy just wants to pass me the puck and I get to shoot. I don't know, mate. It depends on age. It depends on all sorts of things. I think Ryan Whitney said it great on the Spittin' Chicklets podcast the other day. All you guys and girls out there that think your kid's a stud, wait until they meet some vagina, wait until they start drinking some alcohol, and then see how interested they are in ice hockey. Because if you think your kid's getting drafted to the show before he's met Birds and Booze, yeah, you're going to be in for a hell of a shock when he meets Birds and Booze. But yeah, anyone that can score 50 assists sounds like they could be onto something. It's so hard to rate these guys. I wouldn't even be looking into consideration for anything under 13, 14, really. At that point, you can just start get a pretty good idea what they're about. Obviously, puberty is massive in youth sport. Some kids are going to have that big-ass growth spurt over the summer. You come back and they're 9 inches taller. I know when I coached Basingstoke 19s and 18s over the years, kid would come back and he'd be 15 kilos heavier and 8 inches taller. All of a sudden, their stride's better because they're skating longer, their shots harder. it's so difficult with the juniors. You really can't tell until they get to that kind of man sort of age. Don't get me wrong, you can see the talent, who's good, who's bad, but until they've grown up properly and started filling out, they've had that testosterone come in. Like I played with some 14-year-old guys that full beards, and then played with some men who were 35 who never had a facial hair. Hockey's a different sport. Any more comments? I don't think there's any more coming in. So, ladies and gents, make sure you subscribe. If you want to help out the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.co.uk/4000 accounting. You can go onto our Patreon /4000 accounting. Follow us on Instagram, 4000 accounting, Twitter, 4000 accounting, Facebook page is very nearly up to 7,500, which is awesome. Just under 5,000 on Twitter, so get on there. We're starting to post a little bit more on Instagram now, so the numbers are starting to boost up. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys for another episode very, very soon. Peace out.